Welcome to the Daily High, everybody. Happy Friday. What a night we had and day we had in Bitcoin. That was a 10% crash, but it felt a bit different than the other crashes. And it's funny that I had a bit of a weird feeling yesterday, and I did clear out of my trade at a relatively good price. Oh, Tone, you got to
Nope.
read.
I'm good. Nope. Good.
Oh, no, not good. Yeah, anyway, so let's get straight into it, Tone. You take us away today if you like, mate? It's on you. People want to know what you have to say.
Yeah, well, you're the one that got it right. You should go first, but let me go first because last night I did not drink a sip of alcohol, so it's a way better morning. Though that was just telling Matt a story. I'm at a friend's place and I have the place to myself. And considering I was in a proper headspace, wanted to make some tea this morning. There's like a nice tea kettle, and I couldn't figure out how to use it. I had to go, I could Google it right before the show. It turns out it can only be used by an app. I'm like, God damn it.
Tone's
Modern
message.
technology, using it boiling
Tone was
water.
Tone was messaging me saying, "Do you know how to use this bloody kettle? It's like you have to have an app to use the kettle. It's ridiculous." Anyway, let's
Let
crack
me,
on.
it's going to be my project for the rest of the day, to figure out how to make some. Okay, so, yeah, well, we'll dive into the short-term stuff in a bit. But from a long-term perspective, right, on a weekly scale, we're still on an MRI 6. And from a long-term weekly perspective, this looks like no big deal at
Yeah.
all. Now, it can turn into a big deal, but for now, on a weekly scale, I don't see anything that concerning. Even when we go to a 4-day chart, again, nothing too concerning on a 4-day chart. It's just consolidation at the top with the short-term moving average flattened out. So I have not yet panic sold. Could be a wrong decision. We'll find out. But I remain 100% bullish here. Now, if next candle is, causing some problems, I will then start to take profit. Now, the daily chart is where things starting to look ugly. We have broken below the highest closing price we had back on March 4th that gave us the all-time high. And well, it gave us the all-time high the next day, but in any case, the March 5th is when we dropped 15% within a single 24-hour candle. Right now, we dropped about maybe 12%,
Yep.
11%. And I'm going to say it dropped 11% pretty much within a 24-hour, not within a single candle, but from where we were at the top to now, it's about 24 hours, a little bit more than that. And we're back to touching the short-term moving average. So we are sitting at support. Now, the MRI has broken. Now, also keep in mind, and it's something I did not say yesterday that I wish I've mentioned, that we missed. Remember how I was hoping for that price flip and get that red one in there? We
Yep.
got the red one, but we got that red one by such a small margin that it's literally splitting hairs whether we were going to get it or not going to get it. And had we not gotten this red one, had this closed $15 higher, guess what yesterday's candle would have been?
Yep. MRI
Yesterday's
top.
candle would have been a second consecutive MRI top. And if I had seen a nice red arrow here with a second consecutive MRI top, I probably would have been a little more cautious on yesterday's stream than I was. But this is why hindsight in trading is always 2020. And I just wasn't paying close enough attention to the fact that this missed the MRI continuation by literally a few dollars on something that is $70,000. Okay. So missed it. I don't think this is a big deal. I still see this as a buy the dip. I still don't see this as some kind of a disaster. Now, once we start breaking this orange moving average, which is the 20 period on the daily chart, we can then start to get a little more concerned for a more proper pullback. But right now, I think there is a decent probability that the low is finally in. Now, the short-term charts is where things start to get kind of very difficult to trade. So I'm very happy I wasn't actively trading this yesterday. So at first, we're going to go through this one piece at a time. We did this show yesterday. Today is the 15th. So yesterday would have been here. So when we were doing the show yesterday, we were here. That's 11:30 Eastern. Here, no, not even there. Yesterday was the 14th, right? Let me just check get my bearings here. Yeah. So when we were doing the show yesterday, price was like $71,500 or even higher than that, right? Like 72.
Higher. Yep, 72. Yep.
Right. And you were already super concerned. I wasn't all that concerned. And at all of these points, I really thought they were decent buy the dips. Especially over here, when we rallied off of 69 and went back to 72. So last night, right before I was going to bed, I was going to bed on the earlier side last night, we were just pulling back down from 72. And literally, as I was going to bed, we started to crash. But this rally back to 72, breaking all of these moving averages. Again, I really thought that the low was in. And right here, this is where things again get tricky on the hourly chart. So I should use my numbers here. So yesterday when we bounced right from 69 and went to 72, I was pretty bullish in that 71, 72 area, thinking that the low was in. Then in late last night, I mean, I wasn't awake for this, but had I been awake at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and we had just pierced the 67,300, and I would have been bearish. We rallied and then broke down and hit all the way 65 with a beautiful bounce back up. And right now, if we cross 69,000 to the upside, I'm going to be bullish again. This last 24 hours has really been rough. So great call on staying out of the market. I am still in this market, 100% long, but I'm not actively trading this market because it is a nightmare to trade this last 24 hours. And if someone managed to perfectly trade the last 24 hours, my hat is off to them because I would not have been able to actively trade this market in the last 24 hours. I would have been wrecked. So I'm holding through this. But I'm sure there's like 1.5 million people that will be doing videos how perfectly they traded the last 24 hours. And I'm saying right now, I would have been destroyed. Matt, off to you.
Yeah, I mean, you've got more time frames to go through if you want to, but I'm happy to jump in if you like.
No, go ahead. I mean, I didn't look at the 4 hour, but
yeah, we can you can definitely talk over my show. So before I go any further,
like,
yep,
you had all day to like look at this. I just woke up like an hour ago, so I don't know what in the world caused the crash from 72 down to 65 during night trading hours in the US. I mean, like, I'm sure there's people coming up with like reasons and excuses for it. I don't know. I haven't seen any news on this, so maybe something happened, but I don't know what it could have been. So I'm completely clueless if there is a fundamental or a news event, or I don't know, maybe miners stopped mining. Like, I have no idea. Like, is there an explanation for that crash?
Well, I mean, ironically, I only knew about this the second, like so I'll go through my charts, but from about 72 to 71, whatever it was, the first time I got out of it and we came down. And then when we went back up to 72 again, I didn't see any of that. It was only when you messaged me, believe it or not, that when you said, oh man, we got back to 72, we're crashing again, that I looked at it and I was like, oh man, I'm glad I got out of that trade. Because where it went back up,
go to bed. Yeah.
right where it got back up to is exactly where I left the trade. So if I was watching it at that time, I've been pretty lucky in this last. You gotta celebrate how lucky you can get. I've slept through so many crashes that probably would have got me out of the trades that I've stayed in, they've bounced up. Even when I've been awake, I've missed movements that might have got me back into the market that didn't. So sometimes you just got to be lucky and be on the right side of luck here. Please like and subscribe. Please use the affiliate links in the description below. We got some great promotions going right now. I'm going into the charts. All right. So I I was in this trade from 64,996, and last night I was not feeling good about the market. Now I had a really bad day personally yesterday. Nothing's don't you don't have to message me. It was just a normal bullshit day, but is I was having a bit of a didn't want to do the show, but so I was really negative on the price, and it was influencing how I felt about the market. I thought that's how it was feeling, but as I mentioned in the show last night, I tend to be really connected to the Bitcoin market, and it tends to dictate. I don't know, like it's just an intuition that sometimes I feel something and I'll act on something that's not technical, just I don't feel good about it. And sometimes I trust those instincts. And about an hour after the show last night with Tone, I messaged him in real time and said, at 72,155, I closed this trade right here because I was in terrific profit. When we did the show yesterday, I was in 0.5, about 0.55 profit, and I ended up pulling 0.43 out of the trade. So I was very happy with that. But I don't know why I did it. I just didn't feel good about it, and I wanted to go to bed. It was like 1 in the morning. I wanted to go to bed, so I got lucky. Lucky. It was lucky better than good. And then on the daily time frame, it looks like we've gone straight down. But as Tone mentioned, we didn't go straight down. So I'll go to the 4-hour time frame to get a clearer picture. We came down last night and then came all the way back to the price that I got out of the market. And I wasn't watching, but if I was watching, I might have tried to get back into this trade. Glad I didn't. Once again, I got lucky, and we have torn down ever since. We came all the way down on the 4-hour time frame and even got below Tone's MRI support and resistance level on the 4-hour time frame. We didn't close below it, but we did get all the way down to it. This is where my trade was. So I got out of the trade here at a really good profit. Look at if I had just sat through this. This is why you've got to act. And a lot of people messaged me today who have had a bad day that got into the trade at any point here. Or do I just stay in the trade, or what do you think, Matt? And blah, blah, blah. And what would you do? And I said, well, I got out. And it's the same thing I said in the summation of last night's show. If you're in great profit in a bull run, you got to keep pulling these trades, man. Like you got to take them. I can easily get back in right now and have a much better position than I had right here with the same taking the trade off the table. But this is the 4-hour time frame right now. I'm very interested in the MRI bottom coming in on the 4-hour time frame, the same way that the MRI top was in at the top. And as I said in last night's show, I thought was the worst show we ever did because Tone wasn't in the best mood and I wasn't in the best mood. But today it's been very relevant what we said last night. That I said, how many consecutive MRI tops with just flash crashes and instant V-shaped recoveries can we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 great MRI tops. I said, how long can you consistently go without one of them cracking? And it's cracked, okay? But that doesn't mean it's over. I'm going to go to the 12-hour time frame.
Matt, and this is the first one of all of those that's about to give us an MRI buy opportunity.
The rest of them were 1 to 4 candle corrections.
Right. And this
1, 2, 3, 4, 1 to 4 candle corrections.
And this one was looking like another 1 to 4 candle correction with a move back to 72. But the secondary drop will create a 4-hour MRI low coming up in 3 hours.
Look at this. One, and let's see how many consecutives we've had. That one tore through. Okay.
Well, consecutives as in MRI sells without MRI buys, right?
This is just MRI tops. Right. We're just going to see how many MRI tops.
Right. MRI tops with no MRI bottoms.
With no MRI bottoms and with good responses off them. So this we can say, well, they got MRI tops here, but we didn't have big significant crashes off them. They didn't get to the buys.
Right, but there's also 3 of them in consolidation, so it corrected through time.
Sure it did. And that's, I just want to make this point though. This point right here. 1, slight correction, continuation. Bang. slight correction, continuation, 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 continuation. I just felt like this was, I said it in last night's show. We've had a really good run through this whole period here of just having wonderful candle corrections and maybe a little bit of sideways movement, but continuations without any decline. That can't go forever. But I'm really interested right now. I'm going to go to the 12-hour time frame because I know the MRI is not going to help you here in terms of the MRI count, but we closed this candle above the 30 simple moving average, but we came down exactly onto Tone's MRI support and resistance on the 12-hour time frame. If I was interested, I'm going to get rid of these. I've made my point here. I'm going to get rid of these. They're confusing, but I would be really interested. I know this is coming into a 3, and we will get we've had the red star here, but the nearer we can get to this point here, I know we're on the 30 right now, but throughout this next 12-hour period, let's say we come down quite close. Let's call it 66,500, somewhere in this zone right here. I would be very interested in buying the dip with a stop loss about here. So I would have, you said like, oh, nobody traded it perfectly, and hindsight is 2020. But if I had been conscious of this at the time, I would have definitely wanted to buy off the MRI support and resistance on the 12-hour time frame because I know exactly where my stop loss is going to be. I like to get this as close as possible. Even now, if you were just to buy, let's call it at the bottom of this 30 SMA here, if you were non-leveraged, the drawdown to your stop loss would be 3.5%. I think that within the next 12 hours, you'll get nearer to that. You'll close the gap, if not tear straight through it. But I think that you might be able to pick up some Bitcoin at that 66 level and in the low 66 with a very tight stop loss down here. That's the kind of trade that I really like for a buy the dip, where like if we start breaking through this, I'm starting to look lower and then lower and lower and lower. But so that's, I'll leave these lines in and go back to the 4-hour because I want to show you this for me is the same thing. That if we break through here and come back down here again and get back below here, I would then absolutely be looking for a re-entry of the green wave. And then I reevaluate. So I cleared out the trade at 72, whatever it was. I might chance another rebuy by the dip in here, but I've got a defined spot where I want to get out of that trade because then it will revert to the next level down. And that's where I want to be buying. But remember as well, I want to try and buy this position, let's call it 66,500 with a 4-hour. What's going on here? I should have, yeah. I think on one of these green diamonds on the 4-hour time frame, maybe something like this. I'll turn off the MRI for a second. I'm sorry, this is a bit long-winded, but I'm talking through exactly what I'm looking for right now. I want to see this. I want to see the MRI support and resistance line be about here at, call it 40,000. I want to see us have that crash, come down again, get that green diamond, chance the long entry, having a defined stop loss and looking for continued upside. I want to see that.
Go back to where you were.
Yep.
Right. Can you just zoom in on that a little more?
Sure.
On that area. And can you turn the MRI back on? I'm like just curious what the MRI does look like around that region. And zoom in on that some more. All right. So there's the MRI. So that would have been the MRI warning candle. Your green diamond candle would be the MRI warning candle, followed by the MRI buy candle. But right now, we are on an MRI 4-hour warning candle. So if market opens, there's still 3 hours to go in this candle. This candle is only 1 hour into its 4-hour candle. The stock market opens in 30 minutes. If the initial reaction to the stock market is down, and that candle crashes down, how close are we to that green diamond?
Close, extremely close. It'll
So if
happen
that,
if it'll happen on this candle. It'll be exactly the same as that previous scenario we ran through. If if we do have a response crash on this the next 3 hours, yeah,
so so that could look almost identical. So
yeah,
I am interested in a buying opportunity around here as well. But I mean, I would wait to see what happens at 10 a.m. Or around 10 a.m.
me
But
too.
the predefined stop loss is key. You have 2 points. You have the MRI support line, and you have the swing low that went a smidge below that. And the smidge and that low was 65,500. So if I was to enter this trade, I know where my stop loss is. My stop loss would be at 64,850 bucks or so. I would give it just enough leeway to swing down a little bit lower. Let's say 64,825. Okay, something like that. Okay, that would be my
Just a random number.
right. Well, it's not exactly random, but there
Yeah.
is like some logic to that madness to that number. And um, what's the okay? So that's your lower red line. Do you need that upper red line?
Well, I just put in about where I'd be interested in the buy, anywhere in that
Okay,
zone.
maybe you can make them different color or something.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
avoid
just a
confusion.
guess.
Right.
It's just a total
So
guess.
so I would be interested in buying it anywhere between right now, with that red line being a stop loss. Now, obviously, the closer you're buying to that stop loss, the better, like the safer your trade is.
Yeah.
And ideally, you don't want to buy it on the way down. You want to buy it on the way up. So the biggest question in my mind right now is the low in? Is the wick on the candle 4 hours earlier, the prior candle, is that the low for the swing? And are we heading back to 70 plus? And because it's 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, we're not going to know until about 11 or 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's Friday. So maybe today is not the best time to get in. But maybe can you go switch this to a 1 hour chart?
Yeah,
I'll
and just to be clear, I I love this situation here. If we had a green diamond, a defined stop loss, MRI support and resistance zone on an MRI buy or warning candle, that's enough for me to get in and take a punt on a trade. Every trade is 50-50. That's a good probability for me. Now, we could wick down and get out of this trade, whatever. That's the risk you take, but that's at least five different things that I've put thought into this trade.
So you did get your green diamond on the 1 hour, and you were in a
Yeah,
green wave.
we got
You care
we got
about the
a we
one
got
hour
a
all that much.
no, that's right. Thank you.
Right. So for me personally, zoom out, zoom in a little bit. Zoom in a little bit. Yeah. So right now we've been flipping between ones and twos for the last 4 or 5 hours. We have made a swing low. We have made a new 1 hour low close. So if there is a new hourly swing high at approximately 68,500 bucks, if there is a candle closing above that line, I would then be bullish again.
Yes, I agree, except I could definitely see it doing this, touching the 30 again, and then doing another go
Right.
for it.
So if I was to enter my trade long at 68,500 and the price goes to 70,000, I immediately set a break-even stop loss because of what Matt just said.
Beautiful, 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 and that's smart trading. That's bloody
Oh,
smart
there's the
trading.
green stuff.
I agree. I agree completely, and I agree completely, Tom. I agree completely. See what I just and this is a really good show for people who are interested in real trading. What I would do is as well.
Hey, Matt, what's that little blue dot like right there below? Yeah, what is that? It came out
That's
in
I just yeah. It's because I was drawing. I think, to be
Oh,
honest.
okay. Close it short.
Oh, that's a super new indicator. It's a new indicator coming in June this year. No. Sorry about that. All right. So look, and the reason, like, we were having a good response now, I'm still not prepared to go in yet because I want to see market open. I want to see if market open, because once again, just to go back to that drawing again, it would be nothing for me to hit the 7 again and then I need to see what's going to happen on market open. I think that when America wakes up and they look at what's happened in Bitcoin today, there might be a few ETF freakouts. Okay, so I could see us getting a better entry than current price. If I don't, I
If
don't.
America's not up, it's a lazier country than even I give it credit for.
Yeah, well, everyone knows that about Americans. But if, we start getting above 71 again, I can get back in. All good, whatever. But what I'll do is, if this comes back down in the next 4 hours, I will get 2x leverage long. Not much, right? So maybe 200,000 or whatever like that, 2x leverage. And then when we start to come up and we get into buy into strength. So you said you want to buy into strength. I will take a punt on a dip, buy the dip off a green diamond on a 4-hour time frame, get only simply 2x leverage long. So my stop loss is really, it's a reasonable risk for the reasons I went through before. And as we start to come up higher, if I get a good response off that, we start to get above these moving averages, they curl over and we start to move up in the next few days, whatever it might be, I will add leverage and probably double the position. And then I'm in a $400,000 position, 4x from here, in a position to make some serious money once again. That's the way I'll do it. Great
Oh,
show
no,
time.
we'll pull up.
Yep,
Oh, okay. So that's okay. I can take screen share back. That's
take
fine.
it. That's enough. That's enough of me.
Nope, I got it. So real quick, so people in the comments, someone mentioned that like they trade on Kraken and
Yep.
they trade the MRI on Kraken. So if I go to daily chart, actually I'm gonna do it here. If I go to the daily chart, let me make this large.
That 9 actually came in, did it?
Yeah.
The MRI
So
top came in.
btcusd on Kraken. And Kraken is the like on my app, that I use Kraken's price. So when I'm not using I use the index price for the shows, but on my app on my phone, I use Kraken. So Kraken is my go-to price.
Yeah, there you go.
And on Kraken, there wasn't a second consecutive MRI top because of this candle. It was literally a few dollars that determined whether this was gonna price flip
Beautiful.
or it was gonna stay with the count. And there's really no good solution to this.
Just pick
Ideally,
one.
when price breaks, if this is a red 1, you want to see a red 2 following it so that like it's consistent across all exchanges. Like there's no debate on whether, oh, this was so close, and then on some price indices it's a second consecutive MRI top, and on others the count broke and it was on a 6. So I mean, it's just something as a trader you gotta keep in mind. And I just thought I should have been a little more careful in explaining that yesterday, but I clearly wasn't. And had I been, I might have been a little more cautious myself. But I still would have been bullish because the weekly is bullish, the monthly is bullish, and at the moment, this is still just a minor pullback. And if everyone wakes up and starts trading this morning, loving to buy the dip into the Bitcoin ETFs, this can easily rally back to 73 by end of day.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still looking for buy side targets here, because nothing for me has changed. I'm not negative on any time frame. I'm bullish across the board until proven otherwise, and that's why I'm looking for re-entries. And we're rallying right now. We're 68.13. Maybe the opposite will happen. I'll be wrong that the market open won't spook it out. It'll buy it up, and I won't get that good entry I wanted. I'll still probably enter. I'm agile enough to do that, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
I'm not
I'm
bearish.
gonna do a stream on my own personal channel. I haven't done one in a week, so I'll do one like soon after this. And I was on a different channel yesterday. It was a Russian speaking channel, and I always look at gold on a weekly scale. And because I've been looking on gold on a weekly scale for weeks, I forgot to put it to daily scale. And yesterday we looked at gold on a daily scale, and guess what? There it is, right at the high.
Yeah.
Like, but I wasn't looking at it, right? And this is why the alert service is so useful, because it's hard to look at every market on all important time frames all the time. Like back when I was a trader, Like I used to wake up at like, 8 in the morning. There would be like economic news coming in at 8:30. And then from like 8:45 to like 9:20, I would spend that time looking at like 100 different stocks. Like I would look at all of them. I would look at the daily chart, the weekly chart. And now with TradingView, it's actually easier. But back then, there was no TradingView. And that's your routine. You want to just, review your yesterday's charts. You want to see where they're going to intend to open. And you want to pick out your best ones. But looking at gold on a daily scale, which I haven't done in a long time, look at the perfect MRI buy opportunity. And then the green star candle right before the big rise, and it tops on an MRI top. We've now gone the full 4 candle correction. This is looking like a descending triangle right here.
I bet it does on
And
the 4-hour time frame.
this is the daily.
Yeah, but
And
I bet on the 4-hour it's perfect.
And if gold is struggling today, I think there is a bigger correction coming. And that correction can take us, down to this prior MRI top right here at 2090, which is not that far away because gold doesn't move much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of wish I looked at that 4 days ago and I would have been more cautious on gold. But I was only looking at the weekly scale. Again, your scale matters, right? When you trade longer time frames, you trade smaller leverage, and you have more leeway for pullbacks. When you trade daily scale, you gotta be a little more careful on these, 2-3% moves, where on a weekly scale you don't. All right, that's pretty much it for me. We can go to
S&P?
the S&P 500, and it's hanging in there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think the weekend may or may not produce anything. It has the last 2 weeks. It's produced some great results, but time will tell what's going to happen with Bitcoin. It's very, very clear to me what's going to happen. Either we break that MRI support and resistance zone and we look for lower targets, which is great buy the dip and still keep our macro bullish sentiment. While that wave's green, and it was a long, long way to go while that wave's still green. We ran up really hard. So I'm in buy the dip zone in my mind. Or we recover tonight in the next 2 hours and we're back. That weekly candle doesn't look like anything anymore. And you never think about it again. So it's very, very clear. Monday we'll have a clearer picture, and I can't wait to bring you that show. Please like and subscribe, share it with your friends, tell everybody this is the show. The Financial Summit's about to get a few big announcements. I don't even know if Tone knows about them yet, but many new shows are coming to the channel. It's going to be fantastic. Please use the affiliate links in the description below if you're interested in trading, and please have a wonderful weekend.
All right,
Thank you, Tone.
thanks, guys.